Okay, guys, I guess it's time to start. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a meetup called Sell Me This Pen, about sales in IT. My name is Alex, and I'm a marketing director at a Rigma company. I'll be your host tonight on a very special event. What makes it so special? Well, first of all, it's our great audience. Thank you guys for making it both offline and online. Second is, of course, our great speakers. We have two presentations today and the final discussion in the end. We'll get there later. Finally, what makes it special is that this is the very first event held completely in English in the history of the Goret IT conference. So why is that so? Is that because we are not patriots? Well, Tomsk IT companies are bringing millions of dollars from foreign customers to making a sizable impact on the local economy. Sounds pretty patriotic if you ask me. The real reason why we do that experiment is that, to be honest, Tomsk IT companies have a problem. While there is certainly no shortage of world-class engineers in Tomsk, there is a lack of quality sales managers able to communicate the value of those wonderfully designed products to the foreign customers. So we assumed that there are folks here in Tomsk who are actually able to sell complex IT products abroad, but simply have no idea about that opportunity whatsoever. What made us assume that? Well, it's simple. It's the story of all Tomsk sales specialists. Do you know how much of them were familiar with their specialization until they actually started doing that? It's zero. It's true. There is no such thing as sales faculty. They all discovered that opportunity by chance. So it's hard to speak in this mask. Okay, I will hold my breath. Right. So that's true. IT sales is not the position that enjoys good publicity. We all know about IT engineering, test engineers, designers, digital marketers, not so much about IT sales. So we will try to improve that today. And doing it in English is a smart trick to deliver this message to those who actually meet the major requirement to do that job, which is to speak English. So today we will learn a little something about sales in IT, what it takes to sell complex IT products, and how do you know if you have these abilities. Okay, but first let me tell you my story. 10 years ago, when I just graduated the university, I had no idea what to do next. Where should I start my career? What sphere should I begin in? So I opened a job-seeking website, and by that time it was dominated by sales manager positions of all kinds, selling insurance, cars, bank services, stuff like that. Basically anything that you can sell. And I was like, whoa, that's not something I want to do. Because actually, guys who sell, for me, they're most annoying guys. They're trying to push you their products, they're trying to get you money, and for me, as I thought, nobody likes them. So I was like, well, that's not what I'm gonna do. So I choose different paths, but that's a different story. To be honest, 10 years ago, there wasn't much open positions as IT sales. But as Tomsk IT companies matured, we see a lot of such vacancies in websites like Headhunter. So what should modern graduates be thinking of when they see such vacancy? Is it the same as selling credit cards, or is it different? Hopefully we will find it out today. Okay, enough with the intro. Let's get to the presentations. Our first presentation is called Who is a Salesman Anyway? Well, as a marketing guy, I have my own question, answer to this question. IT sales guys are those idiots who blows miserably all those great leads that I feed them with. But maybe our first speaker has different take on that. So I want to welcome, I want to bring here Anthony, our first speaker. He's a director of sales at Origma. Anthony, please.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming. Thank you for those not here, but here. My name is Anthony. How our leads and clients know me, but actually my name is Anton. So, and I have to confess, I'm a salesman, and I'm proud of it. And because of that, today I'm going to tell you what it's like to be a salesman. What are the presuppositions that people have, and are they true or not? So without further ado, let's get started. Are we good? You make me nervous. So what's come to your mind when you hear a salesman? For example, a car salesman in a dealership. How those people look like. We all know that they're incentivized to sell you the most expensive thing. And you have a different motivation. You want to have the best product for your money. And there's a conflict of interests. Another example are door-to-door sales people. We all know the mighty, the one, Zig Ziglar. He sold Tupperware. So he came to his clients' houses and said something like, would you like to buy a pot or a pen? And here in Russia, we probably have at least a relative or a friend of us who bought a vacuum for 50, maybe 100,000 rubles or something like this. And usually we judge those people. And of course, comebacks. We all encounter those smooth talkers that they speak well, they dress well, just like me, but I'm not the one. And sometimes they do some illegal things. And for example, we all watched The Wolf of Wall Street, and it's a good stereotypical example. So why we hate them? Those were occupations, but do they have some specific traits to them? And I think they do. For example, a stereotypical salesman is pushy, which means that he is not attentive to your needs, he doesn't listen to his prospect, and he, or maybe she, just wants to get rid of the product and get your money. Another example is, we all know those online courses that teach you to sell anything to anyone, to sell ice to North people. And we all feel when we are being treated this way. And no one likes that. And of course, people don't like when other people cheat and buy something cheaper and then sell it for more money. Feels like a cheat because you haven't created the value, but you get the money. That's bad. But I have good news. Salespeople are in trouble. Many salespeople are losing their jobs. For example, we cannot imagine a person selling Tupperware anymore because there are online shops. And shopping online, we can even buy a car these days, thanks to the virus, of course, but anyway. And another shift happened around 15 years ago. Everyone got their connection to the internet. So people now can browse the World Wide Web, read some reviews, but listen to experts and be empowered by that. Recently, well, just recently, it wasn't the case because the salesman knew much more than the buyer. And but now it's not true. For example, if you go to shop for a smartphone or maybe for a computer, most likely the person who you meet on that shop wouldn't know much more than you, and usually vice versa. Does it mean that I'm going to lose my job? Maybe, but not yet. We still need salespeople. We don't need salespeople that sell our pots and other consumer products, but in certain areas, we do need them. For example, when we are talking about B2B products, they're complex as hell, and our prospects usually get overwhelmed by the options, the features, and they just need the help to make the decision. Also, another thing is the salesperson can be a differentiator between you and your competition. Let's take this example. I like burgers. I'm a meat person, and I like going to McDonald's. I'm not ashamed of it. But if I want to have a business meal with my acquaintance, not my friend, but my acquaintance, we cannot meet at McDonald's. We have to go to a restaurant. We still can get a burger there, but let's pause for a second and think about it. The product is the same. It's a bun with meat, but the experience is different. And the difference comes from the service. When we go to a restaurant, we have a nice person, also known as a waiter. He comes to your table and says, "Good evening. What would you like to order?" And you see, it's an implicable value. We can touch it, but we can experience it. And this way, a salesperson can create value. And another specific thing for B2B sales is that our clients, as I already mentioned, can be overwhelmed by the options and just the weight of the decision they have to make. Those things are expensive, they're complicated. And in this situation, the salesperson works as a co-pilot for the buyer. They guide them through the process and help them to make the decision. And we all compete with the worst thing, non-decision making, which stifles economic growth and other things. So it's a noble profession, to be honest. All right, so what's it like to be a B2B salesman? I'll tell you, it's tough. It's extremely tough because you're dealing with rejection all day long. 99% of the people are going to go to ghost on you. Sometimes they even lie to you. And we know why. We just talked about it because they have a presumption that I'm going to treat them bad. And we just talk, how would I do that? But I'm not this guy, I'm the good one. You also have to be a good negotiator. You have to negotiate the price, you have to negotiate the terms. You need to persuade the people. And it's not enough to think good about yourself, you actually have to be good with talking to people. And another interesting thing that I see more and more these days, to keep people engaged into the conversation, you have to provide the value in each and every interaction with them. Because if they hear that you cannot bring value, you cannot say something interesting to them, you're not worth their time. They're just going to read another article or maybe watch another video on YouTube. So that's the deal. That was bad. Are there any good sides? Yep, actually a couple. First of all, you are in control of your income. And this is the most entrepreneurial position in the whole sector. For example, if you are a senior developer and you successfully delivered a new feature, the project was successful, what you're going to get? A pat. They'll tell you, yeah, nice job. And that's it. But when you're a salesperson, you get your cut. You get your commission check, and it's nice. Also, your job is to talk to new people all day long, and they come from all over the world, and you're being bombarded with new ideas constantly. It means that you're exposed to different cultures, different words, and if you have some free time, you can actually have a personal conversation and learn a bunch of cool things. And of course, if you're good at this job, you are being rewarded all day long, not all day long, but all the time. And it feels good because it's you have those little projects, you have those little endeavors, and when they're successful, they last an impact on you. You remember those people, you're feeling good about them, about helping them, and you also feel good about yourself. That sounds pretty nice, isn't it? So how one can become a successful businessman? Let's take a closer look at my example. So I started studying English at a very early age, at the age of 6 to be exact. So I've been trained by personal teachers, and we all understand that to be fluent, you have to put a lot of efforts in it. So that's a necessity. Then when I was 18, I went to Virginia State University, and I studied actually abroad and got my bachelor's degree in computer science. And I also got I took 2 internships in America. Why? It's essential to pick up the language, to smooth out your accent, and to become more familiar with the business culture. Should you follow the same path? No. But why? Because I lied to you. I was born in Novokuznetsk, and my favorite show was Scrubs or Klinika. So I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to be a good one. I was good at biology and chemistry. That was my passion. So I went to the medical university. I spent 3 years then. But to be honest, after the first year, I got extremely disappointed in this industry. And I had to make some hard choices. Either I stay there and become miserable, for sure, or I go elsewhere. So I took the chance. In addition to that, I spoke German. Wie schade. And never studied English formally. So when I dropped out the uni, I had to learn it by myself. And in 2 years, I made from A2 or elementary level to upper intermediate. Duolingo, Lingvoleo, and other shows are your best friends. And then I also had to learn IT. So I spent 2 years working as a freelance developer, and I, to be honest, can relate to this picture. You feel lost all day long when you learn something by yourself. So having that said, who should consider this career path? First of all, if you're passionate about talking to people and persuading them, communicating ideas, this is a job for you. Another thing, if you can actually talk to them, not just speak, but talk and listen. You have to be not just about the money, because if you become greedy on the second day. I honestly said, I wanted to be a doctor and I wanted to help the people. And this helps me not to be just about closing this deal. It helps me to understand that our product and service is going to help the company. If they're successful, we are successful as well. If they're successful, their children are fed and they maybe get a raise. And it helps me to be driven by that idea. Also, you have to be comfortable with making decisions quickly and on your own. Because yes, you have your supervisor, but you can have your manager on the demos with you, and you're being bombarded with tough questions each and every time when you talk to a person. And sometimes you handle them well, sometimes you fail, and sometimes it costs you money, and that feels bad. And let's talk about the money. If you are successful, you getting compensated pretty respectfully. So if you're not happy with just being good at your job, but you also like nice things, that's a job for you. So let's wrap it up. In conclusion, what is a salesperson in IT? That was our question for the whole slide deck. It's a medium between your company and the clients. Yes, you can have the best product possible in the whole world, but still, it cannot make its own way to our clients. And this would be a waste of time and resources. And the salesman is the person, or saleswoman, the person who makes sure that your resources haven't been wasted. You have to be a tough guy or gal. Since you have to own the consequences of all your decisions, you have to have thick skin. People are going to treat you bad from time to time, and you cannot be a pushover. And then you have to be a good negotiator, consultant, and knew a couple of things that your prospect don't know. And as you can see, you also have to be good at math, just like me. That's it.
All right, Anthony, thank you for your interesting presentation. By the way, I swear I heard your voice before. Are you sure you never called me offering a pre-approved credit line? You sure?
Maybe.
All right. So let's get to the questions. So by the way, you are free to ask any questions that you have. Oh, it's heavy. Let's sit down.
Me?
Yeah, sure. We have questions for you. So we have 6 feet here, guys. Okay, it's safe. All right, let's see if we have any questions here. Oh yeah, we are. Wait a minute. Okay, Anthony. We know that you close big time deals and you have to negotiate them with top management, the big sharks. It is vital to be confident during those conversations. How a Novokuznetsk born can remain confident in front of top management?
If you are born in Novokuznetsk, you have to be tough. I always where I always have a knife with me, even today. So it's not that complicated. So I think everyone who was born in Novokuznetsk or maybe in the whole Kuzbas have some talent to be a salesman, or at least they have tough skin, thick skin. But what I wanted to highlight is that you actually cannot be nervous in front of your prospects, because if you feel nervous, they'll see it, and your bad look would be translated to the product or service, and they will feel bad about the product. So you have to what's the word? You have to have a stiff upper lip.
Okay, so Kuzbas guys, you heard him. That's your chance, an opportunity that you have. All right, the next question. What is the main difference between worldwide salesperson and Russian one?
Being able to speak English.
Maybe something else, the
No,
culture?
no, that's not the only thing. The ability to speak English is not the only thing. You have to also understand the culture of other countries. For example, in the US, they talk about the time differently. They don't use, they use imperial metric system. And you also have to know these things, because even though they seem like small details, they enhance your perception in front of the people. And if you know those little details, you do not appear as a foreigner, but you appear as a person who can be trusted. So we have to also know a couple of things about the country and the culture.
Okay, next question. Where would you recommend to study to be good at IT sales? So the answer is the SSMU, right? Medical University.
Maybe, but I think the best start would be faculties with computer science.
Okay, so being a sales, okay, in IT is more about soft skills or hard ones?
You see, it's an interesting question, because when you're a people person, so you don't work with machines, but you work with people, your soft skills are your hard skills.
Okay. Do we have another mic? Right.
Okay, let's say I want to be a salesman. How much money I can earn, and what qualities I have to become a successful salesman from your point of view?
Thank you for your question. You can make as much money as a developer or a little bit more. So I would say that just like with developers, we can have kind of grades like junior, middle, and senior. And we know how much seniors make, and a senior salesman also can make as much money. And about the qualities, be a people person, being able to talk to them, understand them, being actually passionate about helping people. And also, if we are talking about the industry or specific industry, you have to know something about it. You have to be in the loop. You have to read the news. You have to read some textbooks and other things. So you're worthwhile to talking to.
Good evening. Thanks, Anthony, for your wonderful presentation. And I'd like to clarify, did you know everything that you've talked about today before you become a salesman, or it was the knowledge that you obtained while working as a sales?
That's a great question, because I knew none. This is an interesting story. I've read about IT, and when I left the uni, I was thinking about leaving the country. So I thought, that's a kind of bad place to be. So why wouldn't I immigrate in another country? So, but then I started to looking for opportunities because I haven't had illusions and dreams about the life in other countries. So in every place you can find your pros and cons, and the pros of living the country haven't outweighed the cons. So I started looking in IT, and initially I wanted to become a developer. But when I matured enough to take a job, I got two job offers. One from a Russian company that works with in our internal market as a developer, and another job offer was at Rigma as a sales engineer. And I heard this word sales engineer for the first time in my life. So I Googled it, I read about it, I watched a couple of interviews with sales engineers, and I thought to myself, isn't it nice to be both a tech person, but a people person? You can still mess around with stuff and code and talk to technical people, but you also are responsible to simplify very complex things and be this medium who connects the dots and talks to people. And I thought, sounds like a job for me.
All right, thank you.
Right, a lot of questions out there. Anthony, what inspires you to sell one product every day? Is it boring? Do you try to find alternative ways to sell, like to play around?
We have a new release every 2 weeks. So our product a year ago isn't the same thing that it's now. So it helps a lot. It also has some problems with it because I have to relearn constantly, but it keeps me motivated, and it also keeps the boredom away.
Okay. Are clients in IT sphere usually more introverted than in classical goods sales?
That's a very interesting phenomenon, because you have to talk to programmers. Yes, you talk both to business people and tech people, and they are quite different, and you have to be able to adapt to this. So yes, in IT, people are quite introverted, so we have to be very attentive, and you kind of have a credit of attention, and you can run out of it. So if you talk too much, if you email too much, people will just block you. So yes, I think there are some key attributes to IT sphere.
Okay, another question. Well, it's not a question actually. I will rephrase it. Please sell me that mic. I already have one.
If you get the second one, I'll give you a volume discount.
And the free shipping. Okay. So we will have a discussion later where Anthony will take part also. So let's make him free and give a word to another speaker, if you will. Okay?
Thank you.
So take a rest. Okay, so our next speaker will tell you if job of IT salesman or salesperson is the same as selling fish on the market. I hope this presentation won't make you hungry, because offline guys, they have an advantage here. Okay, please welcome Vlad from Telebris and his presentation.
Hello. All right, good evening, everyone. I'm glad to see all who were able to come here today. And I'm also glad to greet all those who are watching us online. So I hope that you are enjoying these presentations and conversations that we have here. And I agree with the organizers of these meetup that there is a real problem in our industry, that many people just don't know about sales persons, and even if they know about it, they have some negative image in their minds. Actually, I was going to tell you my personal story, and when I studied to become a programmer, a software developer, and I had a friend who lived with me. He was my roommate in the dorm, and his father used to come to us from time to time, a couple of times a year, and he used to repeat one phrase. So why do you guys spend your time learning some software, computer science? Anyway, you're going to become you're going to sell fish on the farmer's market. Actually, that father, the father of my friend, he used to sell meat on the farmer's market. He did good money, by the way, but that was his mindset, and that what he taught us. Well, of course, that words sticked quite deep into my mind, and I thought that I'm never gonna be a salesman. And it's kind of position that was a little of respect, and most probably it's the last thing that I would like to do in my life. I successfully graduated from university. I joined a software company, and a few years after that, I took part in an international exhibition in Amsterdam with our company. And after a day, standing at the booth, speaking with the visitors who came to our booth, I found myself, I caught myself on this thought that, hey, actually, I am that fish seller. I feel myself like I'm talking all day long, all the same phrases, and I actually realized that I became a salesman, even if I didn't want it. That was a kind of shock for me. So I started to think, why do I think it's so bad? And even if I have to be a salesman, I want to be a successful salesman. So I want to be a successful fish seller, if to rephrase it. So I started to think, what makes a successful salesperson? If you want to be a successful, for example, with such a simple thing as a fish, you need to have at least 3 basic qualities, as I determined it, as I as I discovered it for myself. So first of all, of course, you need to know your product very well, or you need to have a good empathy to your customers, because if we compare these 2 images, look at this woman and at this one. She's smiling. She looks clean and nice. Her her products are well organized and they are also clean and well presented. So this shows her positive mindset and empathy to her clients. And that's one of the first and most important things that, to my mind, any person who works with people, with clients, have to do. He needs to be positive and he needs to be able to feel other people's feelings and to understand it. Of course, he needs to know his product very well, and he needs to know, if we talk about a fish, a place of origin of this fish, where it was caught, its characteristics, maybe it's how it should be cooked. Maybe he should advise you some cooking tips or recipes. And again, it comes from your empathy to your customers. And of course, you need to be able to compare your product with your competitors, because on the market, there are a number of sellers in a row. So why should a client choose your product, but not the others? So you need to be able to give these advantages to your customers. And of course, when you're talking to people on the market, they want to get something more than just a product. And a person needs to understand this psychology and be able to negotiate the price, maybe give a discount someday, or maybe offer some additional gift. For example, a free lemon to your fish, which will help to make your dish even better and tastier. So I wasn't, apparently I wasn't the only person who asked this kind of question, what it makes to be a good salesperson. Actually, two respectful gentlemen, David Meyer and Herbert Greenberg, they conducted a massive research which covered 7,000 salespeople from different kinds of industries, starting from automobiles, law firms, development and constructions, almost everywhere. And after this massive research, they derived, or they got two qualities that are essential for any person who works as a sales. The first one is empathy, and the second one is a personal drive to make a deal. And I would compare that with the, again, as I'm a software, I'm making these comparisons all the time. When a software developer, if a software developer didn't write any line of code per day, he feels anxious. He feels like something's going wrong. I didn't realize my potential. I need to write a piece of code. I need to push this energy out of me into programming. Same with the sales. If you didn't make a meeting with your client, if you didn't close a deal, you feel like, guys, something's going wrong. I need to do it. I need to talk to someone. I need to close the deal. I need to take this conquest, and I need to succeed in it. So these two basic qualities make a great natural-born salesperson. Of course, there need to be a balance between them, and we don't need to mess empathy and sympathy, because if you feel sympathy to your customers, then you understand their needs. You are a very good person to talk to. The customer or prospective client will mostly like to talk to you, but they will go and buy from another person. because at the key point, you won't be able to make the deal happen. You won't be able to close the deal and to fulfill your ego, your personal drive to close the sales, to close the deal. So it's extremely important to have both qualities balanced and to have both empathy, strong empathy, and strong personal drive to use this empathy in your in the way that you need it, not only to help the customers, but also you receive the customer as someone who can help you fulfill your inner hunger. There are three other combinations, and we have already discussed that if you have very good empathy, but you are lack of a drive to close the sale, and there are a lot of people who work in sales industry, and they have this pattern in their mind or in their characteristics. Then most probably they won't be as successful as they could be. If the person have a lack of empathy but very strong personal drive, then it's a kind of bad guy who pushes you to make a sale, and it actually even the worse situation than the previous one, because it may turn away the customer and spoil the reputation of your company. It may be good for very short-term sales when we talk about one-time deals for not so much amount of money, but if we talk about good deals, long-term relationships, business-to-business sales, this way won't work for sure. And if you have a lack of empathy and very weak personal drive, most probably you should search yourself in another role or profession and avoid being sales. So at the same research, these two guys came to conclusion that any person that has these two qualities can become a salesperson, regardless of their previous knowledge or of the sphere or of the area of the profession, or regardless of their experience of working as a salesman. But if we talk about IT sales, do we need something more than just empathy and ego drive? And I believe that we do. Of course, you need to know your product. You need to know your clients, similar, the same as with fish selling. You need to know your market, and you need to know a number of technologies or techniques which help you to become successful. So, speaking about the product, IT products are much more complex much more complex than a fish. And of course, knowing all the features and specifications of the products takes a lot of time and a lot of background knowledge to understand it, why the product was designed and built specifically this way in order to make it clear and to help you explain to your customer what values does it bring to him, and why it's even better than the product which looks similar from the competitors. So you need to be able to understand your area very deeply, and you need to be able always, since you are the front man who communicates with the consumers, you need to be able to deliver the most precious and valuable feedback to your product team. You need to explain why this feature needs to be redesigned, or what other kind of feature needs to be added to your product. Second is market. Speaking about IT market, technology changes almost every year, so you need to keep the pace and you need to know modern technologies. You need to understand also past technologies in order to compare and to again explain your customers why your product is better than the previous one, which was based on the obsolete technologies. You need to understand future trends as well, because again, you are communicating on the front line, and you are the one who can form the future look of your product. And again, on the market, you are not alone. You work with a number of competitors and partners, and sometimes they mix. The same company can be with one product your partner, with the other product your competitor, and you need to be able to establish relationships with both of all of them. Clients, one of the most important things that you should know and understand is you need to be deeply involved into your client's business. You cannot sell anything to your prospective or target customer if you don't understand their needs, if you don't know their strengths and weaknesses. You need to establish the trustful relationships, and it's impossible if you don't know as much about their business as possible. Of course, you need to know places of attraction. I mean, what kind of events do your prospective customers attend? What kind of journals do they read? What kinds of forums or groups and social network do they attend? And again, you need to report all these precious pieces of information to your backend team, to your supporters, to your market department. You need to request the marketing materials that you need to present the product properly. And the most interesting and the most difficult part for the salesperson is a great number of techniques and instruments that he needs to possess very professionally. First is techniques of negotiations. There are, I've placed just 3 techniques here. Of course, there are a lot of modifications of these techniques and many other techniques exist, but practicing each of these techniques requires a lot of time and efforts. And I can't say how many years you need to spend to become a real pro well, applying, for example, spin technology that we use in our company. We are doing this for about a year and a half, and I would say that it's really tough and interesting task for our sales managers to practice in this. I see how their eyes are sparkling with energy when they're discussing how did they cover the how did they apply the situational questions or problematic questions to their customers. It's very interesting and process, and it's a endless way of your professional growth. Some other skills and techniques that you need to practice aside from negotiations is time management. You need to work with not just one person at a time, but with many persons. I would say that tens or dozens of customers during the day, because otherwise just 1 out of 10 will bring you the money today or this week. So in order to be successful, you need to work with 100 of customers per month, I would say. So time management skills is very important and critical. Project management, of course, you need to communicate effectively with your teammates, with your, you need to understand when you need a pre-sales manager to help you close the deal. You need to, after the deal is closed, you need to communicate with your project manager in order to explain what was actually sold and how the customer expect the product to be delivered to him. And of course, the products are not so perfect. Some technical issues always appear, and you need to be able to handle the situation and to be able to rely on your technical support team as well, and to communicate the issues to them as well. That was the back end, but on the front line, you also need to act as a manager, and you need to manage your customer and his team as well, especially before the deal. If they want, for example, a demo, and they need to provide something to you. For example, in our case, maybe video rolics or some branding material to make an application look the way they want it to be. And at the end, the last but not the least important, I would say that one of the most important things is customer relations management system, or CRM. If any sales professional should know such word as a sales funnel, conversion ratio or conversion rate, and different kinds of performance metrics, such as the number of calls per day, the number of meetings per day, the number of proposals which were sent to the prospective customers, etc. So these are just the mathematics of the sales profession. That's quite a lot of things, but is there anything that can be even more or above a good salesperson? I believe that this is what we call in our company a business development. So what's the difference between the business developer and a salesperson? The business developer should be able to work not with just one kind of client, but with different kinds of client. For example, in our company, we make a software platform for delivering IPTV OTT service to end customers, to consumers. Our clients are one of the biggest category of our clients is internet provider companies. And if a salesperson used to work with internet provider companies, he most probably knows very well that this kind of company, they have very good, strong technical team. They know a lot of about the hardware and the network technologies. Most probably they already have a customer base because they are ISP, internet service providers. But most probably they have problems with the content sources and content rights. And he used to overcome these difficulties, and he is easy to establish good relationships with any internet provider. But when we switch to, for example, other kind of customers, a content maker or content owner, that's a opposite situation. They have content, they have rights, but they don't know anything about technologies, and they don't have staff to apply all these technologies. And the product is the same, but the way of negotiations with the customer is completely different. And a good salesperson or business developer should be able to understand all these differences and to build communications depending or taking into account all these nuances. What else? A business developer actually is a person who builds his own sales department. He is the owner of his own sales department. He should have a number of resellers, partners, and representatives around the world. He should be able to monitor them, to establish first initial relations, to negotiate about their motivation, to control their activities, and to help them, to support them in any kind of events or actions that they take in order to become successful. So business developer is already a director of a team, maybe most probably if we talk about international sales, it would be international team. And one last thing that I would mention, which is also very important, a business developer is a person who seeks for new business opportunities. Again, in our business of IPTV or internet television, we have discussed internet providers and content makers. But what about sport teams? They shoot a number of videos about their training process, interviews with their players, and a lot of other stuff which might be interesting to their fans. So in order to keep this audience always in attention to the team and to raise the popularity of the matches with the team, such sport companies could also apply and use our IPTV OTT platform to deliver this kind of service to their fans. And these kind of opportunities should be discovered or noticed properly at the time by the business developer, because he is the one who's on the cutting edge of the market and technologies. So going back to comparison between a software development and a business development, I would say that a software developer, as I was taught in the university, it's a person who programs behavior of the computer. He should develop and implement an algorithm which will take some input information or data, and at the final number or countable number of steps will bring to the desired result. The business developer is actually the same, but the task is much more difficult to my mind, because he programs behavior of the people, of potential customers. He takes a lead, a prospective customer, and his task is to program behavior of the potential customer to turn it into existing customer within the countable number of meetings or negotiations. So when I digged deeper into this sphere, I realized that actually being a business developer is almost not the same, but even better than being and much more difficult than being a software developer. And it's a business developer is a creator which creates new business opportunities. He takes part in the very beginning, and he takes active role in planning and launch of new business projects. So what I would like you to bring out from this speech. Even if you want to be a fish seller on a market, you need to be successful, and you want to be successful. Even this kind of job requires quite a lot of knowledge, skills, and creativity in application of all these skills. Anyone who has great empathy and strong motivation can be successful as a salesperson. So if you are now, at the moment, work somewhere in, for example, medicine or software development or marketing or any other kind of or any other sphere, you can try yourself in this role. regardless of your background or previous experience. And of course, if you want to become a successful sales manager in IT, in such a modern sphere, you need to be very interested in this area, and you need to be ready to develop a lot of additional knowledge, techniques, or skills that will help you to become successful. And business developer is the top level, the top of evolution of the sales profession. And to my personal experience and to my understanding, that's one of the most difficult, most important, and most prestigious role in any modern IT company. So I would like to thank the dad of my friend who put this pin into my mind and helped me to make this presentation today. Thank you very much for your attention.
Okay, Vlad, thank you for a great presentation. Let's take a seat. Here's my chair.
Thanks.
Okay, this time I will not ask you to sell me this mic because I'll already have two. So we have another questions to ask. Okay, so how do you see further career after some, let's say, 50, 20 years in this role, 15, 20 years in this role in IT?
You mean as a salesperson?
Yes, if you work as a salesperson for 15 or 20 years, what should you do next?
Become a business developer.
That's what your presentation was about.
Actually, that's a never-ending and never boring story. As Anthony mentioned, IT products change very rapidly, and after a year, that's maybe completely different product, completely different market. That's the first thing. And the other thing to remember is the clients are always different. Every case is unique, actually. So if we have the same product, but application of this product into particular customer's case is always somehow different. So you may try yourself, for example, within your company in different business verticals, or you may move to another IT company to try yourself in another completely different sphere. So,
all right. Which case is probably better in IT sphere? To be a good salesman in other field and start sales career in IT, or to be a good IT engineer / developer who changes profile to sales?
There are pros and cons in every case, I would say. So if you have a good sales background in some other field or some other sphere, you will have to, you need to feel this personal drive to dive deep into IT. Because, for example, in our company, we had a number of guys and girls who come to us and they tried to understand all the difficulties of our sphere of the IPTV or digital television technologies, and they understood that it was too difficult for them. It happens. But at the same time, we have a number of people from Department of Foreign Languages with a completely non-technical background who became successful because the area is interested for them and they want to know it. Vice versa, if we talk about software developer or some tech guy who decided to become a sales, actually the best sale in our company, the best salesperson in our company, he's an engineer and he is around 60 years old, but he developed his sales techniques so well And he realized that actually he likes to negotiate with people. He likes to be this intermediate between the technologies and the people's needs. And he practiced all this kind of communications and negotiation skills so well. So he's one of the best and successful salespersons in our company.
Is he from Kuzbas as well?
No, he's from Kazakhstan.
Okay. Are there any specific approaches to overcome sales objections as a part of spin sales process that you apply at your company?
Well, actually, if you apply a spin process successfully, there are no objections. Because the spin technique implies that you ask questions in a way to make it obvious to your client that he really needs your product. So there are no objections with this technique.
Okay. How do you usually check salesman candidates in your company?
Sorry, how do you?
How do you know that I eligible to do the job?
How we detect? How do we detect if the person has these qualities? On the interview, we read some books which allow us to ask proper questions, to discover if the person has such qualities that we are searching for, or if he or she lacks something, and then we understand if we are able to help him to become successful.
So, and what's the conversion rate from candidates to a hired sales manager?
Few percent, I would say.
Okay, that's a lot of interviews.
Yeah, actually, that's one of the challenges that we have in our company, and that's why we are here. Actually, that's why we are discussing all these matters tonight. So that's our pain, and I'm inviting everyone who wants to try it. The try isn't a fail. So even if it's not so successful, at least you will understand that you need to forget about that and search for something else.
Okay, sounds pretty optimistic. Okay, what about prospecting? Should a salesperson do that?
Prospecting means
I don't know, maybe
forecasts or what?
Can you please?
So sorry. Oh, lead generation. It depends. Actually, it depends, because if a salesperson wants to make a big deal with a big company, with a big customer, yes, he needs to be active, and he needs to be able to find this opportunity and to find a way to get into attention of these big customers, because there are a lot of salesmen standing at their door and knocking and willing to sell them something. So yeah, it should be. If we are talking about big deals, it should be this way. Or there is too few chances that the big customer will come to you and you will be able to close the deal.
Okay, any questions from the audience?
Okay, Vlad, thank you for the presentation. In the beginning of your speech, you told that it's too complicated to find good salesmen in Tomsk and Siberia. And my question is, how many sales and business developers you have in your company, and how many do you need? Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. How many do we have at the moment is 5 people. How many do we need? So in a year, we expect to have 5 more. In 2 years, triple this number, so 15 in a couple of years.
And what do you think, if you double the size of your sales department, can you double your revenue? Is there a correlation?
Of course, there is correlation, not so direct, I would say, because again, if you listened carefully, the salesperson or business developer, he's not the only one. He should be supported by the back end, by first of all, from product development, technical support, pre-sales, marketing, resources. So everything is needed to be in good shape, properly in time, in order to become successful and to double or triple your revenue. So we are working in all these directions in parallel. So we are enhancing all aspects of our team in order to become successful.
Anyone else?
Yeah, that was exactly the same question as Nikolai already said about how many sales managers versus business developers you have in your company. Because what else I wanted to say is how to become a business developer in your company. That means you hire the one, or you need to work for some time as the sales manager, and then you grow and you get the skills necessary to become a business developer. How many years you need to work to become a business developer? Because I also understand there is a difference in the salary you get.
Yes.
I mean, as
So
a sales manager, I mean, even a commission is higher or not.
okay, yeah, I got the question. Thank you. At the moment, there is a unique situation when you can apply directly to a business developer position, because we are implementing the division of our sales department into different regions, and we have counted about 9 geographical regions in the world. And as I mentioned, we have only 5 of them covered at the moment. So there are at least 4 regions without a head of the region who will become the master and the owner of this region and who will drive the sales process there. As to our practice, even if a professional or a good person comes to our company with good skills, it takes about a year or 2 to start bringing good revenues and start understanding very well all the nuances of the digital television market. So because technologies are pretty complex and it takes some time. It depends on the person, but a year or 2 is needed. And on the 3rd or the 4th year, the person becomes to the top of his or her performance.
And one more question, if possible. This is about the leads generation, because a lot of the people who would like to try themselves in sales, they are afraid of the so-called cold calls or cold emails and everything connected with your first attempt to reach out to some people. And that is why, how do your leads usually, does it a marketing team? Is it a marketing team that generates leads for you mainly, or some marketing campaigns, or your sales managers or business developers, they spend a lot of time reaching out to cold prospects and bringing them as leads?
Thank you again for your very good question. Feels like you are a professional already in this area. And yes, at the moment, most of our leads are warm leads, so-called, and they come from the traffic generated by our marketing team. We are, as I mentioned, we are formatting our sales department to make it specified or to make it divided into geographical areas. And what we see is that when the person becomes the owner of the territory, he starts to think proactively, and he starts to think, hey, I know better than our marketing departments that there is an exhibition that I take part in it. And the salespersons become a generator of these kind of leads. And again, if we talk about the fear of the cold calls, in B2B sales, I would say that that's the practice that doesn't work, because the product is very complex, and the customer, your prospective customer, need to have a lot of prerequisites to start the project. It's not something like a microphone or a pen or a fish on the market. There are no cold calls. It doesn't work. But of course, there are communications. For example, on professional events, when you get socialized, you start communicating with people, and you start making these relations, and then the deal appears, or the interest appears, and of course contacts via social networks and so-called cold messages or cold emails, they are not so scary as cold calls. Most probably, of course, you won't get the you won't get the direct anger in reply to your attempt. Most probably, your email will simply go to junk, and you will never know about it.
Thank you for a great, speech, Vlad. That was extremely interesting. And excuse me, but I want to ask you a personal question. You mentioned that you wanted to be a developer, but today you're a business person. You're a salesman.
Not a salesperson, but a businessman. Yeah, I would say.
A businessman.
Yeah.
Do you miss it?
Do I?
Yeah, no. Do you miss? You don't write any code these days, because I do, to be honest. And let's imagine if I was a developer who wants to transition from being a software engineer into sales. What would you recommend to me, and when would you say that it's a good idea and when it's a bad one?
All right, thank you. Very clever question. Well, actually, if I write a piece of code somewhere, I get satisfaction as well. So the software developer in me, he's very happy at this time. But as I mentioned, a business developer or a businessman, anyway, the person who runs a company, it's the same developer, but the programming language is different. You just use the other programming language to program either behavior of your prospective customer or behavior of your team or your company. So it's pretty much the same job that I was taught to. The difference is just either you write in C++ or PHP or Java or normal people language. And the other part was, could you remind me, please?
What would you say to coders that want to be?
When it's proper to try yourself, right? Yeah, I would say that you need to feel this personal drive. You need to be interested in it. If you are interested, you can do anything. If you are not, then it's okay. You can stay where you are at the moment. So the personal drive is very important. And if you are ready to make this attempt, you should do it. If you don't have this hunger, no need to push anything into yourself.
Okay, we have a lot of questions from our online audience, but unfortunately we have a strict timing, and now we are approaching the segment of our meetup called the discussion. So I would like to welcome to bring here Anthony and another skilled salesperson, Olga. Please, guys, come here. Let me prepare some chairs. Olga, you'll have a comfortable one. Okay.
This one will be
Yes.
for you. And
A
for
big
us.
one is for me. Okay. And okay, so you already know Anthony and Vlad. Here's Olga. She's a sales engineer at Elicard company. And we also have a guest from overseas. I would like to ask Evgeny to get him on screen.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, this is Maxim. He's the head of sales in the North American region of the iSpring company, which is the one of the world's top companies when it comes to e-learning market. Am I right?
Yeah, but we still have a lot of opportunities down the road, so.
Not that. Okay, so let's start our discussion. I would like to begin with Olga. So that's a question for you. Okay. Okay. I know that you graduated with a degree in linguistic and cross-cultural communication. But now, look at you. You are the top-class expert in the telecommunication sector. How is that possible? What's your secret?
Okay, yeah, I'm going to deny I'm a top class, first of all. I mean,
Don't be shy.
I mean, yeah. The thing that hooked me up in being a sale, that is what Vlad already told us about. That was a research on the personal drive that you need to have, and on the this is not the drive, this is the thrill, and this is the never-ending fun that you get with their clients, talking to people again and listening to them and understanding, not just listening to reply, but listen to understand all the time. And talking to people again is fun, and you can, what you also do is you help them. This is not about that you are always bothering them to sell something. This is about that people do need some kinds of products from time to time, and they come to you to see if there is a synergy, if there is anything that you can make together. And that is the thing. I mean, probably it's fun, and because you exchange a lot of the emotions, you need to bridge the gap. They are like from a different country usually, and they need to trust you, and you are always trying to have some kind of emotional intellect, or like being that smart so as not to bore them. So, or not to keep silent, because you need to finally close the deal. And this is the thing that I like mostly in being a sales girl.
Thanks, Olga. Next question. So geography tells that, okay, I will ask and, okay. So geography tells that there is a 12-hour difference between Tomsk and the US clients. What time zone are you living in usually?
My work day starts at noon, and then I work till 7 p.m. And then I need to spend the evening with the family. I have a kid, and then at about 11 p.m. or at midnight, I have another couple of hours. I mean, this is to fit the 8-hour working day. I mean, this is only for that, but usually it is more than 8 hours. And it's one other good thing with Pine that we haven't yet commented about it, because when you are involved in sales, you are always on. I mean, you are online, you are always available, and you barely have your free time. No, I mean, you have one during the weekends, but anytime you need to make yourself available when the customer needs you, when they write, always be online to respond, to say that you are on and you are listening to them and you are ready to help. That's the answer.
I have a question for you, Olga. Do you have, you mentioned that it's important to establish trust with your prospects. Do you have any tricks or moves to establish trust and rapport? Because I do.
Okay, lucky you are. But when you are offline, I mean, taking part at any event, at any industry event, and there is, the situation is better for you, because when you usually work with the engineers who are men, and if you at least show that you are tech savvy, and that is already a wrap up. That is already the thing that you can answer some of the technical questions, not very deep, but for that you have your colleagues, and for that you can work out with it. But mainly this is again depends on the situation, but in the offline mode, that is a kind of the easiest thing to do. When online, when in the email, for example, like last week, I talked to the guy about one of the software products that I tried to sell them, and that was about the FIFA World Club. I mean, some of the products that Elicard provided to assist the encoding and streaming of the signal to the commentators' booths, or so to say, monitors, probably with the low latency. And then I started talking about that I was a fan who you supported during the last World Cup Russia in 2018. And then I said that was I was mad about Croatia, and so they had the final was the French company, and then I mean, at least showing that you know something else except for being the tech savvy or something of the sort. I mean, you feel what the person could be interested in, and you try to develop that direction.
Okay, Olga, you can rest now. My next question is for Maxim.
Anthony will share his secrets.
They're similar, but one trick.
You are also beautiful and smart, as Olga.
I doubt both of claims. One trick that I usually use is when we work across the globe. Not majority of our clients are in the US, but some of them don't. So when I speak to French, Portuguese, or people from other countries, I try to learn a couple of words and say, "Como ça va? Obrigado, namaste." And you can't believe how much it helps. It's not a silver bullet, but still pretty effective.
Thanks. That counts.
Okay, next question for Maxim. I know that most of your staff, including Salesforce, operates from Yoshkar-Ola. Yet you're showing incredible performance. How do you manage to build efficient sales from there? And how do you scale it?
That's a great question. Thank you. I think it doesn't really matter from where you operate. It's all about people. And when we hire people, we try to make sure that this team is lit. They really want to make an outstanding performance. And iSprint makes a lot of effort in helping our sales force and developers succeed. So that's why I guess even the fact that we operate from Yoshkar-Ola doesn't anyhow distract us from being one of the best e-learning solutions on the market. But to be fair, especially this year, we started hiring without that big dependency on location. And now we have Salesforce in Moscow, St. Petersburg. I'm pretty sure that down the road, we would also have some people from the US, Canada, etc.
Okay, the next question is about location. What's easier to sell American clients to American clients from America or from Yoshkar-Ola? Is there any difference at all?
You know, in 2020, I don't think there is any difference because everybody are doing virtual meetings. It's kind of hard to get in a real meeting with any potential clients. But we definitely miss the days when we could do offline expos and meet our clients in person. We mostly do sell using the phone, using the virtual meetings. So we didn't feel any huge difference when all that COVID stuff began. So I think we know how to sell remotely. That's what we've been doing for years. And it's not as easy as in-person meetings when you simply need to build rapport overseas, but it's still effective and it tends to work out really well for us so far.
Okay, thanks. And that's it with personal questions. And now I will ask some general questions for all of you. And if you feel that you want to answer this question, please take the mic and answer it. Okay, the first question. Well, we all know that there's a word that a good product can't sell itself. But can a bad product be successfully backed by a strong sales force?
I may start. You may think I will answer. Yes, it can be sold, but just once. And you will never have this customer again. And moreover, you will get a number of negative, a lot of negative feedback to your karma. And this will spoil your reputation as a salesperson. So yeah, you need to be careful with this. And yes, you can do that, and maybe you can replicate that somewhere in different areas. But that's just one-time sales, and that's what makes a bad reputation about sales guys. So that's what I have to say.
Do you know the story about the Eiffel Tower?
What kind of? No.
That it was sold
Really?
twice. That's
Who
true.
was the lucky guy?
Who sold it or bought?
Who sold it twice?
Victor Ludwig, I believe. Let me check it. Victor Lustig. It was a con artist who he gathered some important people in Paris who were involved into metal production industry, and he told them that they're going to dismount Eiffel Tower. But it's a secret because the government is afraid of the backlash that can come from it. And when he sold it for the first time, the person who bought it was so ashamed of it, so he haven't told anyone. And because of that, he was be able to sell it twice.
Well, actually, the question was if a bad product could be sold, right? But so Eiffel Tower is a great product. It's magnificent. So selling the same thing twice is a great skill for any kind of sales guy or a girl.
Okay, to the next question. How do you even train a salesman? Isn't it like parachuting a newly drafted rookie in the middle of the battlefield? Is it possible to train them on cats because it's a direct communication?
I think no. And I can relate to this feeling because, yes, sometimes you feel like a person in the middle of a forest or maybe in the middle of a desert, depending on your state of your pipeline. If there are plenty of leads, but they're exceptionally bad, and I'm not looking at the marketing guy, or vice versa, if there are none and your pipeline is empty, yeah, you can feel like that, completely lost it.
So the question was how you can teach or train your staff, yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. So in our company, of course, so we have quite several instruments. Well, first of all, we train our people in theoretical way, right? So we give them some basic theory that is needed to start communicating with the prospective clients. The theory, I mean, it's about the product, about the market, about the technologies, about the sales process, about the business of the potential clients, and of course about the sales techniques that you need to possess in order to become successful. For example, we strongly advise to read the book by, sorry, forgot the name, spin, actually, to read a book about the spin technology. And that's the first. The next step is to practice on some low-cost deals, I would say. Or on clients who we already have established good relationships. It's not a completely new client with a high check, but it's someone who already knows us very well, and you just need to continue good already established relationships and making some upsales or something like this. And after a while, of course, we give them completely new. After a couple of successful deals, we can give completely new, good leads or good opportunities, which he can close, or he or she can close from scratch. So that's the way we do in our team.
Thank you. And oh, sorry, please go ahead.
Oh, thanks. And also speaking about, it's good to have a supervisor for some period of time, someone that will guide you through the process. I mean, and it's a lot of work for the supervisor to put the newcomer into the process. And then a lot depends on the person himself, because he will need to read books, to listen to TED Talks, there are a lot of articles on sales, and you definitely not to go to study at the university or anything anywhere else. I mean, to become a sales manager, a lot of the theory you can find online and get it. But at the same time, what else was that? Yeah. Like speaking about the sales job, there are like sales managers and there are account managers. Like, and when the company has accounts, that's easier to upsell, to do some upsell, and just to maintain some relationships with them. And that's also a pretty easy part of the tasks than being a man who needs to attract leads. I guess so.
Max?
That's important. On my end, we used to have a feeling for some positions that the best way to teach somebody how to swim is just to, throw them into a lake or in the sea. But there is too much risk associated when you do that with salespeople. And that's why right now we have a mentorship program, and the supervisors and the mentors pay a lot of attention to the performance of a new salesman. But what tends to be most efficient is getting them into the field as soon as possible. And at iSprint, we try to make sure that the salesperson can touch real clients ASAP. And so my most successful team members started doing their first sales in less than a month since they stepped into the company. And they would typically have the target on the second month for sure. And not that I'm trying to, market what we primarily do, but when we mix traditional training with distant training and use the LMS system, it saves a lot of time to senior colleagues. That's why even if we have a lot of newbies, we don't feel like the sales decrease significantly because there are mentors who need to take care of them.
That's interesting point. Okay, next question. It's very personal. I don't know, can I ask it here? All right. How and when did you realize that you are actually able to sell something complex?
Am I going to be the first one? When I got the money? No, actually, I think it's one of the most important rules in sales that the deal isn't closed until you get the money. Because if you think that you are about to close the client and something can get wrong at any stage. But we have no refund policy, so if you get the money, that's it. But you see, it's an interesting point because sometimes if we reflect on what is essentially sales is, we have sales, we touch sales every time, and everyone sometimes plays a role of salesman, because when you when you're being interviewed for a job, you're selling yourself. So if a possibility to go to an interview scares you, I don't know how to say that, something out of you, that's probably not the job for you. But if you are feeling excited about an opportunity to make a deal with someone, I think you have maybe a talent for that. So, but from my experience, only when I closed the first client, I realized that yes, I can do that.
I guess it happened first time when I was on the international exhibition or show, when I had direct communications with the customers, and that wasn't the deal that was closed by myself because I was a technical support team member, and Actually, I did my first sale, I don't know. The last sale that I made was a year ago, actually. But the first one, I can't remember, unfortunately. And I never, no, it was, I never applied to, as an interview to seek for a job position. Bad for me, maybe, but.
Thank you for reminding me of the story from my time in tech support. I'll try to make it nice and short. But when I first started working at iSprint, I was tech support dude, and I never needed to sell. But at that point of time, whenever we had any request for customization of mobile apps, for example, our sales department used to throw it back to tech support team, because there were quite a lot of things to discuss when you need to build a custom app, and they wanted the person selling it to look more techy. And we didn't have much success selling custom apps. So I guess I felt that I can sell something complex when we first closed the deal with one of the universities to customize the mobile app. And that was quite a big check in the scale of our organization. And you know, I went back to that experience a few times, trying to analyze what I did. And that was when I realized that everything started out of the value for the customer. So that was probably not the best deal I've closed, but it definitely was something very first and really exciting.
I would say it's exciting every time you get an email with, okay, should we issue a purchase order, or okay, we buy it. It's always this kind of feeling inside you. Yeah, I mean, I don't also remember the first date, but it happens and happens again, and that's the point about being a sales manager. And there was something else. I mean, in idea, I wanted to talk about yeah. When I mean, this is not always that you get your deals closed every day, even not every month. It could be so. I mean, it depends on the project or on the product you sell, on how complex and complicated it could be. And sometimes there is like a period for the deal to be completed after all the technical demonstrations and prototyping or whatever it could be. And then what else? Yeah, let me think about it again. What was the thing about? Okay, just let me think about it. Yeah, yeah, and you may feel like nothing happens during a very long time, and you get depressed about, and you do not feel that good for a certain period of time. I mean, to be ready to be good salesman, you are ready that for a certain period of time you have nothing, like you probably have your salary, but you probably don't have your commission that you are supposed to earn every month, but you don't get it. And then you are trying like to survive, and you need to have something inside you in this case to focus some, like, I don't know, some hobby you have to focus on, so as not to be down in your feelings, in your like understanding, in your mood, in your understanding of what's going on, what's the, I don't know, the like, this is not that's what I expected. I mean, be ready that it's not going to be about joy and fun all the time, but anyway, it's fun.
Okay, any questions from the audience? Okay.
So since you mentioned that for long periods of time, I guess these are the periods when you have like no leads or the leads are of a bad quality and you're not getting like any commission as you said you're supposed to have. I mean, what do you think is the way out of this situation? Do you continue to do what you're doing currently and hope for the best, basically, or you're supposed to somehow change your marketing strategy, lead generation strategy? What is the way out of this situation? For example, because for example, in my company, the deals are very long and they don't happen very often, and they can't happen very often. Even, for example, if we triple double our sales team, I think the deals won't happen that often anyway. So my question to you is, in your experience, what is the strategy out of this situation? Because sometimes it occurs like every 2-3 months, you're sitting with no leads or with no deals whatsoever. Thanks.
That is the question to all of us, but probably I'll start. The thing is even worse. This is because as a sales manager, and this is if your company is not like 5 to 10 people, then you can't influence and you can't change the situation because you are not the owner of the business. And the owner of the business has his marketing strategy set already. And there are going to be some debates inside you, whether you are that good or that bad that you can't sell, or whether it's about the product. And that is a very tricky thing, not to start even talking about that the product is not that good. I mean, because there are a lot of people behind the product, a lot of smart guys, smart minds, and creative hands, whatever. And you are just try to do your job as good as you can do that, and not give up in this situation. But finally you get your commissions. Finally, in the middle of the night, you get an incoming email that, okay, let's talk. I mean, the situation with me is pretty much always this one.
Yeah, thank you, Olga. Well, we have similar situation as you described. We also have long-term deals. We don't have so many deals happening during the month. And what we do in these kind of situations is, of course, you as a salesperson, you need to have your pipeline or a sales funnel, and you need to analyze it first. If it's full or if it's filled with potential deals or not. If it's not, then that's a tragedy. But if there are potential deals, then you can think what you can do to make them happen as soon as possible. And the question, the answer to this question goes into some technical details of your specific product. But in our case, we usually work with the potential deals which we have in our sales funnel. That's what we do. And of course, it's easy to blame marketing that they don't deliver good quality leads. It's easy to blame development or technical support that they don't reply in time, or they do something which is completely not necessary by the market, or they do it with the cracky hands or something like this. But speaking about the sales, it's the sales funnel and application of sales instruments, the improving of your negotiation skills and techniques. That's what we do.
let me also throw in that, like, the huge danger here is that as soon as you start hesitating in your product, in your company, it becomes really, really visible to all the clients you talk to. That's why it's important, even when you feel bad about some strategies or products, to keep your attitude in the right manner. Make sure that your clients don't see that. And I would agree that working with pipeline helps a lot to get through the months when you have less sales. And the long-term planning as the concept of doing the sales when you're a salesperson is definitely one of the ways to get a commission, even if not every time, then well compensated for all those periods when you had just fixed with no flex. So that's what helps myself as a salesman and my team. And there are different sales cycles. We don't always have the issue of huge long-term deals. We also have products which are more consumer-based. That's why you don't need to wait for half a year before you can get a paycheck. But maybe this is something that a salesman could actually go ahead and put into the head of product development team, so that you can have some products which are faster to close and which you can deliver with less delay from the beginning of negotiations. So it's just a really good question, I think, for this discussion. But there are many dangers for any salesperson to lose motivation if you're not getting commission for quite a while.
And once again, it's if we are talking about long-time deals, the question is if your lack of deals at the moment, you should ask yourself what you did wrong 3, 4, 6 months ago that you got into this situation. So you need to analyze your past experience and to make some learn some mistakes and try to avoid them in future, not to make them happen again. So that's the other advice if you are in this situation, I would say.
Unfortunately, our deals are so long-term that I can't even say I had made any mistakes. Because this is like the situation, like you're all talking about, like the funnel of sales. Like sometimes you look at it and you understand that this funnel, it's like it exists, right? But you don't really see the point of it, because you understand that, for example, let's say you close like 2 deals in 2 years, and those were your only quality leads, since your area of work is really specific. Well, our company develops products for iGaming, and as you understand, it's a very specific specific field. Many things like rely on regulations and stuff like. As you probably know, for example, you were talking about like selling to USA. We cannot sell to the USA, since people in the USA only in few states are allowed to participate in iGaming and like in sports betting, all those other activities, and those are only 5 states out of like 51, right? So the reason like I'm asking is, like, at which point do you really like communicate like with your marketing team to change the strategy? Since like in my opinion, this is like the only way. You can't just like sit and wait for like, let's say you have like 150 leads a month, right? And since you have mathematical statistics of your sales funnel, and it says that you close like, for example, like 1% of those deals, like you can't get the number of leads up. How do you up the quality of the leads?
That's the question to the marketing department, I guess, or the host of our meeting today.
This is not the meetup about marketing, so we speak only about sales.
Well,
So-
you know, I think it's still kind of mixed, and marketing has to be in a close relationship with sales, not in a war with sales. The way we handle that, we do weekly sync ups. But if anything goes really, you know, really wrong, or I feel something weird is happening to the leads, I can take faster reaction. Um, it definitely sounds that in your particular case, it would be harder to boost the stream of the leads. But if you can sell to 5 states out of 51, I guess it's still better than selling to 0 states out of 51. And so I think the closer you would work with marketing to make any changes, the more deals you would get. And that would definitely help boost the revenue stream. But it sounds like a good consulting project to make any changes rather than a, you know, discussion kind of question for today. So I hope you would be able to improve that situation you described happening in your company.
Just two quick advices. Diversify. First, the market. Try to sell outside of US, anywhere in the world. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. And the second advice is most probably, I don't know if it's applicable or not, but diversify your product. Make it easier and simpler to sell. Maybe some other niche in your gaming industry.
I also have a couple of words to say. You asked on which point would you to talk to your marketing and ask them to change the strategy. And I would say all the time, because as Max mentioned, they have weekly sync ups, and I think this is a crucial component to a successful communication between marketing and sales team, because marketing is the first thing your prospects and clients see, but they cannot reply, they cannot respond to it. They only can fall into the funnel, but the salespeople are the first people that they can talk to, and they can hear their response. And it's essential to communicate with your marketing and share ideas and to be in sync, because marketing is has only technological means of understanding what's going wrong and right, but only the salespeople can talk to people and hear what they're saying. And another thing is how to carry on when it's not going well. I think there are two main components, and the first one is to stick to your routine. You must have a routine. You have to empty your inbox first. You have to do the stuff. You have to go through your funnel. You have to follow up with everybody. And then you have to reflect on what you've done. Because also Max mentioned, you have to believe in your product, but you don't have to be enchanted by your product. You have to think about your company and the product as you feel about yourself. It's a very bad idea to think that you're perfect, but you have to trust in yourself. You have to think that you have a potential. And same with the product. You have to think that it's a good thing. It's not perfect yet because nothing is perfect. And those new businesses that you're going to acquire will help to improve the product, but it's good enough to make a business relationship right now.
Okay, we're ready for next question. Well, I already know the answer, but I still have to ask it. Working in sales, is it a dream job or a nightmare job?
Again, you and the job of being a sales manager should match. And this is about your personal skills, about your inner world that can cope with this constant no answers, probably. But you need to have your own like influx of energy, battery life, always on, and be like proactive and enjoy the process. And this is a dream kind of job. But there are some kind of cons, but you can also, you need to deal with them too. That's it. This is definitely not a nightmare. This is more about a dream job for me.
Well, as a software developer, is being a software developer a dream job, a nightmare job? 90% of time, software developers spend their time on debugging or dealing with some legacy code. It's not a creation of something new and not so brilliant and fantastic as it described. So it can be a nightmare, but if you love it, if you have this inner feeling and desire and drive to do this job day to day, then of course it's a dream job. Because when you do the thing that you love, it's your hobby. So you're just enjoying your time.
I think that this is a dream job if you like surprises. Because working in sales, it's the most entrepreneurial role in a company, in the whole process. And if you imply success and you like and can deal with surprises, it's very cool. Because we also have a very long cycle in sales. The longest deal that I've closed took a year and a half, maybe even more. But once, just once, I closed a business in one call. It was just a sunny afternoon. They called. We spent 20 minutes on the phone, and he told me, "All right, yeah,
Send me an invoice."
send me an invoice." And if you like these type of things and you can withstand the cons, it's super nice.
So if you like uncertainty, it's a dream job. It's a dream job for you.
And you can enjoy it.
Yeah, and you can enjoy it, of course.
It's definitely a dream job for me. And I think what makes it so special is that you can never stop running. I mean, if you like it, if you want to grow, if you want to be even more successful, you would never see some sort of the rooftop. You can always keep going forward. And I definitely agree to everything you guys said. Totally the most entrepreneurial position in the company. And so if you love selling, you would never work, not even an hour during your lifetime.
Okay, thank you. Well, like I said in the intro, sales is not the most it's not the kind of job that people think of when they think about IT. They all know about developing, coding, maybe marketing, designing, but as we see today, sales is probably, and sales business developer is probably the most important job in IT companies. So, what do you think? What's the problem, and how you can fix it? Whether you want it to be fixed or not, or you feel comfortable that, well, nobody knows that we have that kind of dream job and we don't want any competition here. So, what do you think?
I believe that this is a natural thing because we all have limited perception, and everybody knows Microsoft, but very little people know about Oracle. but their databases power most of the systems used by governments because they have their database. Especially in our time, more often than not, you meet a person and you ask, what do you do for a living? And they say, I'm logistic analytics, and you're like, what? So these days, we have a lot of specialized jobs, and I think that it's pretty normal. And how do we tackle that? I think the only way is to raise awareness and share our stories, tell about them to other people. And of course, I think that it's super nice to have a bit less competition in the job market because it raises your compensation.
I would say that if a person doesn't like competition, it's not a salesperson. Because sales is always a competition.
I didn't say I don't like it. I said that I enjoy it.
Right. Yeah. So asking or answering to your question, Alexei, I would say that to my mind, we all know that when a young man or a girl graduates from a school, he applies to the university, and he sees or she sees a list of specialties that he can apply to, and there is no specialty or profession to become a salesperson. That's, I would say, the first reason, the most obvious one. The other reason is, again, the lack of awareness among the society that there is a need, that there is this, that such profession exists, and there is a real need for this kind of specialists on the market. And that, I would say, the reason number two. And the reason number three, I would say that there are a lot of communities between software developers, QA engineers, even project managers or designers, whatever. But there is no sales community, or at least I don't know about one. So we are trying to create this kind of community right now here, and I'm excited that we are doing this, and I hope that we are going from the end of this pipeline, but we will make people aware that the profession exists, that there's a need of specialists, and maybe in a couple of years, we all will be Nobel professors at the universities, teaching the students, bright, talented people to be successful salesmen.
Okay. So, right. I'm sure that we can do it all night long. There is so much to talk about that, which definitely means that we need to do it more often and make a community to discuss it. I'll be, as a marketing guy, I'll be very interested to take part in it. In this, okay. So I guess we can finish because it's getting too late, and in case in Max's case it's getting it's getting late. What?
I'm all good. Yeah, 10 a.m. I can do this all day long.
Okay, I'm afraid we can't match here. You have an advantage. Okay, so I would like to thank our speakers for such an interesting discussion. That's true. Very interesting thoughts you all guys shared. But I hope that now we all know a bit more about this profession. Me, that's 100%, and I hope the audience as well. we in Gorat IT share the same feeling that growing Salesforce is the quickest path to grow for tech companies selling their own products. So our goal is to increase the awareness of the job opportunity for those who may really succeed at this. And we see that there are people who listen to your stories that, well, there are different trajectories to enter this kind of specialization. We heard a few stories from our speakers that show us that no matter if you have an IT education or not, if you wanted to be a doctor or wanted to teach people English, you still can become a successful salesperson. So we will be happy if that conversation would encourage our audience to give that profession a shot. That's how we know our experiment today had a success. So if you want to learn more about that opportunity, please feel free to visit our website at salestomsk.ru and leave your contact in the online forum. So we will be waiting for a new blood. I don't know if the rest of this. Okay. I would like
Don't forget about Yoshkarola. Just kidding.
We will register the domain for Yoshkarola sales as well. Okay. I would like to thank our speakers for sharing their valuable experience. Of course, many thanks to our audience, online and offline. Well, I guess our meetup is over. Thanks again for taking part in it. And it was a very intense discussion, I guess. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Alexei. It was a pleasure to be here
Thank
today.
you.
Thank you. Okay.